I married a beggar to escape my death at the hands of my own father. Marry the beggar, or die. That was my father's decree, not a warning, a command. I am Princess Ebony of Ayan, born into a golden cage and raised to be traded like a coin. But the same crown that raised me also tried to kill me. They said women in Ayan couldn't shift, that we were too weak to wield fire. But they were wrong, because I am not what they think. I am not dragonless. I am the dragon. At 14 I changed, my bones split, my flesh burned, and Nova was born, not in my dreams, not in my mind, but in my blood. And I've hidden her for 4 long years. But secrets burn, and mine ignited the very court that raised me on the eve of my 18th birthday. That night my life came crumbling down when my father summoned me to see him at the library, and told me about his cruel decision that would go on to alter my life and the history of my kingdom forever. I won't marry a stranger, I said, my voice too loud to speak to a king. My father turned on me, furious. How dare you talk back? You will obey me. You can't pick my husband, I pleaded with him. You're turning 18, it's time now. Your mother is planning the grandest ball in our history for you. I have sent invitations to all the neighboring princes. You will choose a husband at the ball. That's my final decision. He looked away at his books. I was boiling inside but tried to stay calm. I'm your daughter, the princess. Why am I just something to trade? Mary, my brother's not me. He ignored me. I don't even have a dragon yet, I said, my voice cracking. Who wants a dragonless princess? I was hiding the truth from him. Quiet, he roared, making me flinch. Women aren't allowed dragons in Ayan. Even if you could wield one, what good would it do you? You're not meant to fight. You're meant to serve, to bear children, and to obey. Your place is in the household, not on the battlefield. I knew the law. No fighting, no training, no shifting into a dragon for women. Death if you broke it, even for me. I tried to speak, but he cut me off. You will be married in 3 days, dragon or no dragon. He paused, cruel. I invited the Pyrorian princes. Pyroria? I gasped, shocked. Our enemies? You'd marry me to our sworn enemies? What's done is done, he shouted, losing patience. You will choose a husband at the ball. Refuse and you'll regret it. I felt sick. He looked nothing like the man I once called father. My father would never have spoken to me with such cruelty. Yet there he stood, the flickering flames reflecting the hard lines of his face. And I knew he meant every word. I'm done with your disobedience, he said, his voice cold. You're a woman. It's time you act like one. Your only purpose is to be useful to a man and adorn his halls with your obedience. My whole body trembled. I forced my voice from a whisper. Is that an order, Your Majesty? He slammed his fist on the table. Yes, for heaven's sake, Ebony. Holding back tears, I gave a stiff curtsy and left. Outside, my brothers melted into the hallway shadows as I passed, my heart pounding angrily. I pressed my back to the cold stone wall, the weight of my fate pressing down like chains I couldn't shake. Then a voice curled through my mind like a spark in the dark. We need a plan. Snap out of it, Ebony. It hissed. I gasped, my eyes darting around the corridor. Had anyone else heard that? Nova? I whispered, barely moving my lips. Panic tangled with awe in my chest. Are you here? Of course I am. Her voice thrummed through me, both a comfort and a threat, ancient power coiled tight beneath every word. If dragons are forbidden to women, then why can I hear you? My whisper trembled, cracked with fear I didn't want to name. Because you are not like them, Nova said, her presence pulsing through my mind like a storm waiting to break. Just as I stepped outside, trying to catch my breath, voices rose from the throne room behind me, impossible to ignore. I crept back toward the heavy doors, my heartbeat beating in my ears. Hidden in the shadows, I shifted silently into my dragon form, hidden underneath a spell, cloaked in the dark. My mother, Queen Briette, pleaded with my father, but why? I heard the tremble in her voice, though she fought to keep it steady. She deserves to know the prophecy, she said, her words crept with fear. Be quiet, Queen. You swore never to reveal the prophecy. Do you want the order to rise again? My father's reply cracked through the air like a whip, landing like a blow to my chest. Then came my mother's voice again, lower this time, quivering with a rage I had never heard before. She is your daughter, Liam, your flesh and blood. No law, no man you marry her to can erase that truth. But my father's voice was the only one that mattered in this conversation. I quickly understood. I had never been a daughter in his eyes, just a burden, maybe even a threat. I was dangerously close to the door, standing on tiptoes, but my mind wandered off to the words. Prophecy. There's a prophecy with me in it, and no one's told me that before? Just then Nova's voice whispered through my mind, calm and steady. Don't worry about the king, little one. We'll be fine. You know what to do now. But I couldn't stop the ache in my chest, a pain no spell or dragon could dull. How can he hate me this much? I whispered. My voice cracked and a single tear slipped down my cheek. But before Nova could respond, I heard my mother's voice again. Liam, don't you remember what the seer proclaimed at her birth? Ebony is destined to... My father's voice came crashing in, interjecting her. Not another word. What was that? I asked Nova softly, barely able to form the words. I don't know, she murmured, but we'll find out, together. But before I could plan my escape, the night of the ball arrived, looming over me like a twisted joke, laughing in my face before I even had the chance to breathe. I stood before the mirror, the crimson gown clinging to my shoulders like a sentence I couldn't escape. My reflection didn't look like me. It looked like a prisoner dressed for sacrifice. Then the door creaked open. I didn't need to turn to know who it was. King Liam, my father, stepped inside and stopped cold, his eyes dragging all over me. You look truly radiant tonight, he had said, voice low, hands warm against my shoulders. Any prince who sees you will know how fortunate he is. Must we speak of mates so soon? I don't want to marry yet, father. Please don't make me do this. I tried to protest. You were born to be a wife, Ebony. You are meant to serve your husband. Tonight is your chance to show Alarion the grace and strength you carry. When you find your mate, and you will, it will not be an ending, but the beginning of your true story, he said before continuing. Alarion must come first. The throne cares not for a woman's dreams. It only cares that you fulfill your duty to it. And right now you refuse the one ritual that seals a princess's fate, choosing a mate. I turned to face him. Fate, a single dance, and then off I go. Far from the forests I roam each dawn, from the people I know, from the woman I want to become. If my destiny is bound to some man I've never met, then I am already lost. Just then Nova had warned me that our mate was hidden among the princes gathered in the ballroom today. But my heart was already armoring itself. Enough, he shouted. You will step into that ballroom in 5 minutes. No more words. Then just before leaving he softened. You will always be my daughter first, Ebony. Make me proud. As you say, father, I said, stepping forward, chin high, my heart hammering. The ballroom memory is still so fresh in my head like an open wound. The taste of perfume and old stone. The sea of suited nobles parting before my crimson gown. Whispers struck like an arrow. She is dragonless. She is not even that pretty. She is cursed. Each suitor was a test. The young baron bowed with hopeful eyes before me. The older duke offered his rehearsed charm, and another prince carried venomous pride about his dragon. My replies, sharpened by pain, cut them down like blades. Does my presence grace you, Baron, or is it merely a stepping stone to a title you covet? My disposition suits me perfectly for dismissing men. To you, Kaelin, your dragon's patience outshines your merit. With every jab, Nova's unease grew inside me. Our mate is here. Be careful, she warned. Then Prince Aaron stepped forward and spoke loud enough for all to hear. Is this ball a sham to truly bind you to a mate, or is it merely your father's wish to rid himself of a daughter who brings only difficulty? You dare speak to me of difficulty? I snapped. If my father wants to get rid of me, it's only because he's surrounded by vermin like you whispering poison to him. The court gasped. I felt the hush tighten as the old King Beriot approached me, hand outstretched, his polished smile a sham. Such anger, he said, his voice smooth. It is unseemly for a future queen. Allow an old king to guide you. Nova pleaded with me in my mind to not lose my calm. Not like this. Control. Our mate is here. I feel him, but something is off. Be careful, Ebony. But her voice faded beneath my rage. You senile vulture, I hissed. Your wisdom is nothing but dust clinging to a rotting crown, I said, taking my hand away from him, but it was too late. The music stopped. The crowd roared. How dare she hit King Beriot? She should be hanged for this. Execute her. When I looked into my father's eyes, I saw it. He didn't see a daughter. He saw a threat, a question he didn't want to answer. King Beriad surged forward, his face blotched with fury, his voice like a whip. "Your daughter has humiliated me, Liam," he thundered, "in front of kings, nobles, and the sons of our alliances. She has dishonored me, struck me." He held up his reddened hand like a banner. "This is no mere insult. This is treasonous behavior. I demand justice." A murmur ran through the crowd. Then, like wolves catching the scent of blood, the nobleman surged with venomous approval. "She has disgraced every prince present," barked Prince Kalen, his voice sharp with wounded ego. "She defies tradition, mocks the court. What respect will remain if this goes unanswered?" cried the Duke. "She lays hands on a sovereign king. That is an act of war," Count Aaron howled. And then a single chilling voice cut through the ballroom. "She must die." It was unclear who had spoken these words for a moment, until the voice came again, louder from one of the Eastern lords. "Execution. That is the only way to restore dignity to this court. No man here wants to take this woman as his wife." Then more voices joined. "She's a threat to the throne," one said. "No dragon, no respect, no remorse. Let the gallows teach her humility," another chirped. Soon a chant caught fire like dry tinder in a drought. "Execution, execution, execution!" King Liam stood frozen, the cries hammering around him, his face a mask of unreadable steel. But I saw it, the flicker in his eyes. Not just rage or shame, but something worse, doubt. Suddenly Nova roared inside my head. "Run! Shift! Burn them all if you must! Just don't let them cage you!" But I stood at the center of the ballroom, looking at the storm I had raised in the eyes. I lifted my chin and waited for my father to speak. Just then, a commotion at the edge of the crowd broke the din. The doors slammed open. Davin stumbled into the ballroom, face bloodless and eyes wild. Davin was my instructor and the only one in all of Valerian who knew about my dragon. Would it mean that my secret was about to spill in front of the court that hated me already? King Liam snapped. "What is happening? Who are you?" But Davin's eyes were locked on me, burning with triumph. He raised a shaking hand, voice cracking as he shouted, "My king, you want to know why she refuses every suitor? Why she has no dragon? Why she acts above every law of Valerian?" The crowd's chant faltered, curiosity slicing through their bloodlust. Davin's gaze glittered with betrayal. "She doesn't need a dragon because she is one. She's not the dragonless princess everyone thinks her to be. All this time, Princess Ebony has been hiding what she truly is, an ancient stone dragon." A stunned hush fell over the crowd. For a moment, no one moved. "But no woman can shift," one of the princes murmured. "A witch," someone else said. Davin pressed on, voice climbing to a fevered pitch. "My king, she's been blackmailing me for years," he spat, each word sharper than the last. "She threatened to tell you that I've been sleeping with the captain's wife if I didn't train her for war. Can you believe it? Your blood, your own daughter, wanting to raise an army against her father?" King Liam recoiled, staring at me as if seeing me for the first time. "Ebony, is this true?" A hot ache blossomed behind my eyes, blinking back tears as the accusation sank in. "We must do something to find our mate, now!" My dragon whispered urgently, but it was too late. Look for him. But I couldn't. The voices of the court crashed over me like thunder, mocking, jeering louder than dragonfire. And just like that, Nova's voice, my only anchor, was drowned beneath their cruel mockery. "She's no princess. She's a cursed creature in a dress," someone said. "No man here wants her. Let the beggars claim her." The court erupted against me in unison, and my father, King Liam, the man who once cradled me in his arms, did nothing. My defiance had brought me to this moment, standing before the entire court, every whispered breath and judging gaze ready to pronounce whether I would live or die. I woke before dawn, the guards' firm hands pulling me from my bed. They led me down torchlit halls to the great throne room, where King Liam and his court awaited my arrival. As I stepped onto the marble floor, the crowd erupted again. "Kill her! Kill her!" I murmured to Nova, "We're going to die, steady yourself." But Nova's voice wavered, edged with fear. "You've insulted them all, placed yourself above every courtier. Who would choose you now? But Ebony, our mate is still in this crowd." I swallowed my fear and kept walking ahead. Nova tried again. "There's still time. Let me help you flee. We can finally find our mate." But I did not pause. My gaze locked on King Liam atop his granite throne, dragons of frozen fire carved into its arms and back. He inclined his head. "Do you need to hear the testimony of those who have spoken against you?" "No, father, but I began. "You will not address me as father," he roared. "I am King Liam to you. Do not call me father again." "Yes, your majesty," I said, almost whispering. 6 steps below him, the councilman stood grim-faced. Prince Edwin, my brother, barely hid a smirk. Davin's bruised cheek gleamed by torchlight in the audience, a proof of my last training session with him. I watched Lord Lyndon step forward, his scroll unfurling like a noose. His voice echoed off the stone walls, each word a lash. "On this day, before King Liam of Valerian, I read the charges against Princess Ebony Antoinette Firestorm, Princess of Valerian. First, abuse of power and cruelty toward Elsie and the castle servants. Second, blackmail of Davin of the House of Tauru. Third, assault on a subject of Valerian and a royal soldier. Fourth, treason, assaulting invited nobles, including princes of the kingdoms, and attempted assault on King Beriad." My heart pounded. "Lies! All of it! Lies!" I whispered. "This is all a lie. I never did such a thing as abusing Elsie." I glared up at the king. "Where are my accusers, your majesty? I demand to face those who witnessed these crimes." A murmur rippled through the court. Lord Lyndon met my gaze coldly. "They have left the castle, your highness, but for Davin, who is bound by royal decree." I turned toward Davin, fury blazing in my chest. "This is a mockery. You deny me the chance to face my accusers?" King Liam rose, silencing me with a sweep of his robes. "Silence, you traitor. There will be no more talk from you in my court." My body recoiled as if struck by lightning, but I refused to look away. Lord Lyndon stepped forward again. "Now let the council vote on her sentence." One by one, their verdicts rang out. Death. 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 Each death hammered a final nail into my fate, until Lord Lyndon hesitated. His dragon flickered in his mind alone. In a strangled voice he said, "Banishment." King Liam's lips tightened as he finally nodded at Lord Lyndon. Then the king's voice thundered. "Ebony Antoinette Firestorm, you are stripped of your royal title. You shall live under house arrest until you wed the first unmarried man who arrives at these gates, prince, merchant, or beggar. If you ever return to Valerian after that marriage, you will be flogged and hanged. That is my decree, which shall be recorded in the royal archives." My legs buckled under me, but I stood firm, my crown, home, and title instantly gone. Queen Briette, my mother, leapt up from her seat crying, "You cannot do this, she is your daughter." "She was my daughter," the king said sternly. "Now she is a no one." Just then, beneath my skin, something stirred, a pulse of heat. My fingers twitched as a faint, iridescent prickling spread across my forearm, like scales sleeping just below the surface. Nova's voice rose inside me, urgent and low. "He's coming." Who was coming? Almost instantly, the palace guards pointed toward the doors. "A man approaches." The crowd turned. I saw him step from the shadows like a ghost conjured by cruelty, cloaked in rags, hunched, stinking of smoke and rot. He grinned at me, a mouth full of rotted teeth, but his eyes were too bright. "A beggar," someone said, laughing. "A perfect match for her." I stood frozen. "This is the mate you spoke of, Nova?" I whispered. "The one meant to save us?" Nova's voice cracked. I don't know. Something's wrong." King Liam's expression twisted into smug satisfaction. "Escort the princess to her new husband." The soldiers grabbed me by the arm and dragged me towards the man. He stood firm, extending his filthy hand toward me. I recoiled, and again, as if one cue, laughter rippled through the hall. "No, father, please, don't do this to me." But his eyes were cold with hate. Then slowly the stranger lifted his head. His face was shadowed, features gaunt but ageless. His eyes, silver gray like storm clouds locked behind ancient gates, met mine, and he smiled, as if he recognized me. Before I could think, Lord Lyndon cleared his throat, voice dripping with condescension. "Now, stand beside this beggar so we may finish what's to be done swiftly." I threw my head back, summoning every ounce of haughtiness I could. I skirted close to the man, close enough to recoil from the stench clinging to his rags. He smiled again at me, but I looked away, hot tears streaming down my eyes. The nobles laughed louder as if I was a joke. King Liam descended one step toward us and pretended to look closely. Then he dared a mocking smirk as he said, "Today we witness the holy matrimony of these two." "Please don't do this to me, father," I cut in. my voice broken in desperation. Lord Lyndon shot me an icy glare. Interrupt the king again, and the council will reconvene to charge you with death. We'll have you lashed publicly before you leave these walls. King Liam looked pleased by Lyndon's threat. He ignored my shock and glanced at the crowd. Any objections? Speak now or forever hold your peace. I searched hopeful eyes for someone to cry out, but found only smirks, except the beggar beside me. He returned my glance with a broad, toothy grin that made me shiver. King Liam pressed on. What was your name again? He asked the man. Boris, he announced. Boris, do you take this woman as your lawful mate, even without a true bond? I do, Boris beamed. Will you provide for her? The king asked again. I do, Boris repeated. King Liam turned to me, eyes like ice. And do you take this man to be your lawful mate, even without a true bond? I bowed my head, every muscle trembling. Inside me, I vowed that Boris wouldn't live through the night if I could help it. Nova sighed in my mind. Answer him. He's growing impatient. I lifted my chin and met my father's glare. My voice rang clear in protest, one last time. Marry the dirt beneath my feet. Is this your prophecy, mother? You don't know anything about the prophecy. King Liam's voice trembled with fear as he looked at Queen Briette, who gasped softly behind him, but his smile suddenly turned sinister, almost like he had defeated an enemy on the battlefield. Enough, he roared. This marriage is done. You are no longer a Valerian, Ebony. You will leave now with your beggar husband and never show your face here. My face darkened with worry as my father continued. Or I shall have you hunted and killed. A tear slipped down my cheek. My own father, the king, wanted me dead. Why was he so afraid of me? What was the prophecy that he was guarding with his life? Before I turned to leave, I cast one final look at my father and said, more meekly than I'd have liked to, You can't cast me aside, father. My dragon and I will bring war to your doorstep, and I will fulfill that damned prophecy. As I walked out of the court, humiliated and powerless, bound to a stranger, a beggar, I was left with nothing but questions. Why did the king cast me out like a threat? What is he afraid of? Who is this beggar with storm gray eyes who smiles like he's always known me?
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.